So there's this article in the Washington Post that features all the new data from the General Social Survey. There's lots of findings, but in particular, I want to talk about this graph. So what you're seeing here is the share of men and women between ages 18 and 30 who are having zero sex in the past year. And as you can see, that the figure is 18% for women and 30% for men. Now I want to read out specifically from the article. For most of the past 3 decades, 20-something men and women reported similar rates of sexlessness, but that has changed in recent years. Since 2008, the share of men younger than 30 reporting no sex has nearly tripled to 28%. I'm going to say that again. Since 2008, the share of men younger than 30 reporting no sex has nearly tripled. That's a much steeper increase than the 8 percentage point increase reported among their female peers. This is female privilege, and privilege comes in lots of different forms. Like if we're to have a beard growing contest, then obviously I'm privileged against a woman. Same would go if we're to have a general athletic contest. Some women are going to be stronger than me, but biologically speaking, I'm going to be privileged in that kind of a competition. That's real male privilege. But our society does not seem to want to talk about the real female privilege which exists in the dating market. When it comes to access to sex and dating, women are absolutely privileged. There is no equality amongst the sexes. There's not even a comparison. Like, the advantage is just enormous. I know that graph said that 28% of men weren't having sex and 18% of women weren't having sex, which is only like a 10% gap, but that doesn't tell the whole story. I can basically guarantee that for most of those women not having sex, that is their choice. For one reason or another, they're just not interested in having sex. Of the men, they are involuntarily celibate. They would like to be having sex, but they're not having sex. Anyway, when I saw this graph that was demonstrable proof that there's no equality amongst the sexes in the dating market, I thought it would be interesting to give you 10 reasons why that is and why it's changed and gotten worse in recent years. The first reason is female hypergamy. Women want to date top-tier men. In our society with technology and dating apps, it means that access to these top-tier men has never been easier for women. And so I would speculate that a lot of the sex that used to be distributed quite evenly amongst the male population is now skewing upwards and overly inflating that top 5% of men. Number 2 is pornography. Way back in the day, if you wanted to see a naked woman, you'd have to go out and meet one and get into a relationship with her. Nowadays, with the click of a mouse, you can see thousands of naked women. And that just reduces the motivation of men to go out and seek relationships. If a man wants to see a naked woman, he's not as likely to spend hours and hours going out, doing pickup, trying to meet them, developing his social skills. He's just likely to upgrade his Pornhub account. Number 3 is the MeToo movement. All of this hysteria and fear around the sexual imbalance of power between men and women didn't just start with Harvey Weinstein. Over the years, we've heard more and more about sexual harassment and sexual assault, and one of the consequences of this is that men are now terrified to speak to women, lest they be falsely accused of raping her or something. Number 4, purposelessness and depression. As so many jobs are now becoming automated, amongst young people, the unemployment rate is higher and higher, and with that comes this lack of meaning, a lack of purpose and drive in your life. Sex is essentially a celebration. It's an expression of your high self-esteem. And so if you're not working and you feel bad about yourself, you're depressed, you're just not likely to have much sex. Number 5 is female empowerment. Now, back in the day, it kind of used to be that if you buy a girl drinks over the night, she was somewhat obligated to sleep with you. And obviously it's good that we've moved on from there, but this sort of female empowerment, entitlement, you don't owe him anything, has gone really, really far. Almost to the point now where if a man is doing you favors or going on dates with you with the expectation of sex, that is absolutely inappropriate. A woman is entitled to receive all of these benefits and enjoy all of this attention and not be expected to give anything back in return. It's almost as if women have collectively raised the price of sex, and so men have to do more and more in order to get access. Number 6, media entertainment. It used to be that sex was one of the only forms of entertainment available to us. Like, what are we going to do to pass the time that's pleasurable and fun? Let's have sex. Now, there are so many forms of entertainment. We've got music, movies, video games. We've never had access to so many different sources of pleasure, and I think that sex is just losing out against the competition. Number 7, sugar babies. If you haven't heard of the sugar community with like sugar babies and sugar daddies. Essentially, it's rich old men who are paying hot young girls to be in a relationship with them. Not every young woman is formally entering into a sugar baby, sugar daddy contract, but that kind of mindset has spilled over into the mainstream, to the point where women are sort of entitled to say, well, if you want to date me, you have to pay me. They're not entirely wrong, they're really just responding to the market, because female beauty is worth something. Just look at the donations that attractive Twitch streamers get. Good-looking women have figured out how to monetize their looks, whether it's by being an Instagram model or a stripper, and when they're raking in so much money, there's that thought of, well, why would I waste my beauty on just pleasing one man when I can broadcast it to the world and make a whole lot of money? Just focusing on one man, well, that doesn't really make economic sense. Number 8 is MGTOW. There is a collection of men who are so sick of dating and women and all the hassle that comes with relationships that they are just bowing out completely. They've looked at the dating market as it is, with all of the expectations of commitment, all the drama, all the debt they're potentially taking on, and add to that some of the unfavorable laws to men, like divorce laws, child custody, child paternity, and they're like, no, not interested, I'm not going to do it. Number 9 is oversaturation of sex. I think a lot of people in our culture are just sort of sexed out. Like, we're just seeing it too much. It's been too heavily commercialized. Whether it's in movies, TV shows, music videos, advertising and billboards, you're just exposed to sex all of the time. I'm sure I'm not the only person to say this, but nipples don't have the allure that they used to. Like, it used to be like, whoa, you can see that girl's breasts, like that's nudity. But now it just seems like breasts are the norm. Like, you see them all over the place. I'm not complaining, but it does mean that you're exposed to sex and it loses some of its taboo excitement. Of course, it's still pleasurable to see naked women. Advertisers understand this, and that's why they've pushed that button to try and sell their products. I just think that they pushed it too hard and they've kind of overdone it. My 10th and final reason is that women are dating older men. The graph that we looked at showed the statistics for men between ages 18 and 29, but I don't think there's been the same drop for men over 29, and I think that's because the younger women are now sleeping with the older men. With all the increased expectations and entitlement from women in the modern dating market, it's difficult for a young guy to actually fulfill those requirements. If she wants a high-value guy who's got really good social status and a lot of money, you just can't accumulate those kind of things in your 20s. But if women want that, they're going to have to look older. So I think they're sleeping with 30-plus-year-old guys. So those are just my thoughts. They're my 10 reasons why men between the ages of 18 and 29 are having less sex than women and less sex than ever. I'm sure there's some important reasons that I missed out, so be sure to let me know in the comment section. This video is sponsored by Man-Made Media. We've got a new video out, The Ovulation of Strippers. This video details the study where they tracked a stripper's earnings based on where she was at in her ovulation cycle. Fascinating stuff. We're still running our comment competition, so if your comment gets a heart, you've got a chance to win 100% off your next order at Man-Made Media. That means it's completely free. Details are in the pinned comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.